So this is all about today. I must tell you, I came out and I expected we were going to be talking about farmers, and we love our farmers. We were going to talk about so many different products, but you know what they want to talk about? Sir, this is about eggs. Eggs. Because we have farmers of the entire country here, and they are unbelievable. And if you remember, when I first got elected, my first news conference with the fake news, a lot of fake news here today, but I had a news conference, and the first question, what are you going to do about eggs, sir? I said, what's wrong with eggs? I just got there. It's my second day in office. I had a news conference, and they were screaming at me, what am I going to do about eggs? Then I said, well, it's like, tell me what's wrong with eggs. The price was so high. It was 4 times higher than it was a year before. I said, well, that sounds like a problem. Let me think about it. And Brooke Rollins, our great Secretary of Agriculture, she got involved.
It's 4 times higher now. Well, here in New Zealand at least, double the price than what it was 8 months ago.
We all got involved. They didn't want me, as you know, just last year, it's hard to believe, they didn't want me to order eggs for the Easter egg roll, the Easter egg hunt that we have here every year. They wanted me to use plastic. I said, I'm not using plastic, we'll get it solved. And within
Are you using real eggs? You can't be telling me. The White House is out here getting kids running around the fucking Rose Garden. Nah, it's not even the fucking Rose Garden anymore. That thing's long gone. Trump fucking desecrated that. But you can't tell me that you've got kids running around the White House doing an Easter egg hunt for real fucking eggs. Bruh, there's fucking a thing called chocolate. The good thing about it is you don't have to, wait for a chicken to fucking push it out. And the best part is it's like half the fucking price of a real egg. And kids like them. It usually goes along with the tradition of the Easter fucking bunny.
In a short period of time, eggs came down. They came down 40%, 50%. And by the time we got there, we had so many eggs, we didn't know what to do with them. And today we have more than 40,000 eggs supplied by all of the great egg farmers that are with us. So eggs is a big thing, and it was a big thing to our great first.
Where are these numbers coming from? You got 40,000 eggs at the White House? 40,000 eggs across the state? Across the country?
First lady, who's here someplace? Let's see. I think this is our first lady. What do you think of our first lady? She's a movie star. I don't know. Do we call her first lady or a movie star? She has the biggest movie. Can you believe this?
That bunny, whoever's in that suit has like regretted every life choice that has got him to that fucking moment. I still can't get over the child rant.
Well, now it's time for the Hall of Shame, where every week I name and shame. Coming in at number 4 this week. Now, we've been talking a lot about Keir Starmer of late, right? He's obviously been roasted by Donald Trump on many, many occasions. But Saturday Night Live in the UK, you might remember, a couple of weeks ago they launched and they trolled him something quite chronic. Well, guess what? They're back again. And I just think their take is brilliant. Have a look.
Good evening. Happy Easter. And in the strongest possible terms. Hello. Now, I know some of you were disappointed by my speech on Wednesday, while others of you did not watch it. For those who missed it, here's a summary. You didn't miss much.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. Don't you think it sounds exactly like him? And there was also more. I'm going to show you this bit as
this
well.
Is
when
what
they started
Sky
talking
News
about
has become.
Iran. And aside from the voice being absolutely spot on, the mannerisms are
This is
impeccable. Have a
like
look.
content for children, but instead is dementia-ridden elderly white people in Tauranga and some fucking Ponzi place in Sydney.
Because Keir Starmer, and it goes for Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister of Australia, they're all about de-escalation right now. It's like the left's favourite word, de-escalation. Well, how do you suppose to de-escalate with a murderous regime?
Exactly. How do you de-escalate with a murderous regime? What is Iran supposed to do? They're going up against the most murderous, scary regime team-up ever. Their own little 1940s Germany and Italy. Israel has been nothing but a murderous state, murderous regime since its foundation on Palestinian land 70-something fucking years ago. And for America, well, they were the blueprint for Israel. They stole every piece of land. When they were told by the crown they can't expand any further west from the Appalachian Mountains, they can't go and steal Indian land, they formed a fucking revolution. That's what the revolution was about. And the tax, it was no tea tax. There was no fucking tax that they had to fucking worry about. It was about the fact that it was then the market got flooded with legal fucking tea. And a tea smuggler decided he was going to go and dress up with a few of his mates in brownface, looking like Native Americans, and throw a bunch of tea off the fucking side of the boat. And this is the proudest moment of American history. Even before that, the colonization of America, it wasn't exactly done in a fair and friendly way to the Native Americans. Both of these states have been formed of the foundation of genocide, apartheid, and mass fucking suppression. And it's funny that an Australian is sitting here and fucking going on and on about it. This is the scariest shit ever because it's becoming so common and so normalized. Remember how Australia was formed? The lost generation? Going and, like, murdering a whole bunch of indigenous peoples, stealing their children and putting them into reform homes with white people and teaching them how to be white, then trying to breed the colour out of them by mixing them in with white people. That is well documented. And then here in New Zealand, Māori were beaten for speaking, like kids were beaten in school for speaking their own reo, for speaking their own language, trying to erase the whole history and culture, because when you have an indigenous group that passes down its knowledge, its history, its culture, its belief systems through speech, when you go and, try and erase the language, erase the ability to share that knowledge and to tell that history, it's basically like burning books. This is how recent of a history this shit is. My grandfather was beaten in school for speaking te reo Māori, for using his own language that he was taught at home. But that's the thing, is like, this has happened to indigenous groups throughout history, and we all finally came to a consensus that it was wrong. And we stopped it. And, so we thought. It's just, how is it so easily acceptable now? Because of people like this. This Danica chick who is out here spitting just absolute stupid shit. And we're asleep to it. We just, she's out here doing an educational fucking roast that you'd see on fucking, YouTube Smosh videos. Like, this is a Smosh Reacts.
It's de-escalation and dialogue. Yeah, dialogue with whom? With whom? The new Ayatollah in Iran? They don't want to negotiate. They don't want de-escalation.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know who did want negotiations? Do you know who did fucking want, some sort of peace and de-escalations? The previous Ayatollah that you fucking blew up. Weren't you, but...
Because they've got the finger on the nuclear trigger. I just think that's absolutely brilliant. Well done, SNL over...
Apparently they hadn't even built the fucking trigger yet. If someone bursts in my fucking house right now, right, and shoots me, and almost kills me, because I thought maybe I might want a gun, do you know what I'm going to do afterwards? I'm going to go out and buy me a gun. Hell, I'm going to want me a nuke. You just done that.
In the UK, they're killing it right now. Number 3 this week, it's a bad day to be Ilhan Omar, who's now under investigation, and she's coming in at number 3 on the Hall of Shame because, oh boy, it's not looking good. Fox News has detailed the allegations. Let's look at this.
What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota.
Oh, dear.
The Oversight Chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring.
This is just fucked up and racist. I hope to fuck they find nothing so that we can throw this in their face for the next 40 fucking years. Just because she's Somali, just because she's in that area, does not mean that she is doing some conspiratorial shit that you would usually hear white supremacists accuse I'm not, but this is the same shit. They have this, the Jews run Hollywood, fucking the Jews run the banks, and what, now they're doing that formula for Latin Americans and Africans. It's crazy. It's crazy, just the way that they've like spun propaganda hard. Like, they're still doing the white supremacist playbook shit. They're just choosing a new character. They're just choosing a new target.
Says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices.
Whoa!
Republicans want to know,
how's that? I tell you what. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money.
Whoa! An investigation has been started, and maybe there's no evidence to support it. Whoa! Wasn't the Epstein files say something that was that Trump was slightly being investigated for some connection with him? They were looking into him? The FBI? If merely having a case opened on you is guilt, then fuck, half the people in the Republican fucking Senate shouldn't be there. Half the people in Trump's administration shouldn't be there. Kristi Noem shot a dog.
As he said, the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in on Ilhan and her husband. I don't know, is it back to Somalia now for the Democrats' number one asset? I mean, she's always claiming, hating on America, isn't she? She hates America because she hates Donald Trump. I mean, this is the same country that let her in.
I was just about to say, well, she hates America because she hates Donald Trump. That's literally it. She just said it. If you hate Donald Trump, you hate America. Even if you're a Republican. Even if you fucking voted for him. If you don't think that he's a good guy anymore, you hate America. You're un-American. I criticize my government all the time. Doesn't mean I hate my country. I love this country. That's why I criticize it. That's why I want these people in power to actually fucking do some right by us. It's because I don't want to see my country turn into that fucking country.
With welcome arms. But, you know, if she wants to go back to Somalia, go. Please, but be our guest, go. But gee, follow that one closely. But as I said, it's a bad
This
day
is literally
to be Ilhan
go
Omar.
home. This
Now,
is literally
coming
go
in
back
at
to your
number 2 this
country.
week,
Talk.
Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer. Now, I never thought I would say this, but I actually think that maybe she could be even more insufferable than her Ken doll of a husband. She has now said that she is deprogramming, is the word that she's deprogramming her sons on traditional sex roles. Make it make sense.
I've given our boys dolls, even if they tear the head off. I've given them dolls to learn that care and caregiving is not just an activity that's reserved for women, but that it's also an activity that is a responsibility of men. What I've done with both my daughters and my sons is if I'm reading a book and the protagonist is a male, I just change the he to a she.
Oh.
And it just...
Sorry, I can't go on. Why does she hate men so much? What's wrong with men? What has happened to her? Why does she hate men? And secondly, why don't you just teach kids to just live their lives, be normal? I mean, when I was a kid, I liked playing with fire trucks. That didn't mean that I needed a lesson in gender.
I do not agree with Newsom's wife there. That's some weird shit. Give your kids boys and girls toys. Let them fucking have at it. Let them play. Let them have fun. You don't need to be teaching your kids about, you know, who's supposed to be a mummy and what the daddy and what they're supposed to do. And, you know, like, both sides of it. I'm like, fucking just leave kids alone. Just let kids be kids. You know, Republicans are over here. No. You got to get boys monster trucks and you've got to teach them that, you know, it's the girl's responsibility. And you've got to get girls and give them little baby dolls and teach them that they're going to grow up to be parents. Fuck that. Leave kids alone. Let them play. Secondly, on the other side, oh, you've got to teach kids that it's okay to be who they are and whatever, and you've got to teach them it's accepting. Shut the fuck up. You don't got to teach them shit. They'll find out people are accepting. You know why? Because what you need to do, instead of doing those two things of educating them while they're young and fucking forming their brain for them, you just make it so that they've got safe spaces around them, that they've got a safe community. That would encourage kids to be able to come out and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm this way, that up, down, left, right. You don't need to say to them, this is a safe space, if you make them feel like it's a fucking safe space. You don't need to educate kids on whose role it is to do what in the home. If you have a husband that fucking steps up and looks after the kids, if you have a husband that will support, change diapers, fucking cook dinner, clean the house, do the same shit that a traditional woman, and he can pick up some of the slack, he can do some of the fucking work, then you don't need to teach kids. Oh, well, daddies also look after kids, because they'd see the daddy looking after the kids. You just put them in that environment where they see positive influence. Kids don't learn through you telling them, they learn through seeing. Lead by example. You can't say to these kids, when you grow up and you have a baby, you got to make sure that you help your wife and you help look after the baby, rah, 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 if they're growing up in a home where the fucking father doesn't even do shit. How can you expect that?
Or other, just let kids be kids. You don't have to deprogram traditional sex roles. You don't have to have a lecture
Yeah,
on
and you
it.
don't have to
What is with
program
the
them
left?
either.
God forbid your child grows up, if you have a daughter, say, for instance, and they grow up to be a tomboy. I mean, it's this left's way of parenting now. They'll probably say to the kid, oh, are you sure you're a girl? It blows my mind, and I just find it very, very dangerous.
Either side.
Now, she's out there
You just
talking
leave the
about
kid
gender
alone.
norms
Let it figure
and
it out.
deprogramming her kids. And at the same time,
If a little girl wants to wear shorts, let her wear shorts. If a boy wants to wear a skirt, let him wear a skirt. Who fucking cares? Visited some family, went to the Easter fair, and there was some taste testing booths for some alcohol that are up and down a couple of the regions. We had some people come up from, even from Carpety liqueurs, I think they were called. Shout out to them. But this one here is Elemental Cider, and you guys can find it in New Worlds. I think they said from Palmerston North, Wellington, or something like that. So went over to the booths, had a little bit of a taste test. The Carpety liqueurs, they have a range of plum, different variations of plum and sweetness and bitterness and all that good stuff, and it was quite nice. But this stuff I really, really liked. I got a taste test of it. I tried this one. I tried the mixed fruit, which had like feijoa in it as well, which left a little bit of a feijoa aftertaste, which was quite nice. A little bit of a hint of feijoa at the end. They also had like a little ginger one, and then they also had this Pahutakawa flower, which is got Pahutakawa flowers infused in it, if you could tell by the name of it. But the coolest thing, I was having a chat with the lady at the booth, and she travels around the world doing testing and like judging and stuff like that. And she's, devoted a lot of time to this right here. It's all natural, sugar-free. They use traditional brewing styles. For example, one of them, she was telling me it was their dry apple, I think it was, or dry cider, something like that. And that was done with the traditional British English way. Then there was another one that they put into barrels and age in barrels and brew in barrels to give it an oaky, woody flavor. That is a French way of doing it. And then some of their own experimental things like the Pahutakawa infused cider. It's gluten-free, all natural, sugar-free, vegan, and handcrafted from fresh New Zealand apples, so it is supporting local through and through. This little bottle, 500 mils, I think was $11, $10. You can get, they also had a pack of like 4 for $40, something like that. Save a little bit of cash when you buy a few extras in bulk. It says here, Elemental Cider, our simple philosophy of working with the sun, earth, and wind and water defines everything about Elemental Cider. From the way the apples are grown to the way the cider is made and bottled. Elemental Ciders are ciders as they should be. Freshly crushed cider apples, naturally fermented to produce a dry, sparkling cider with refreshing natural acidity. Each blend is an expression of our Otaki summer in which it was crushed. Cider infused with the statement of fresh Pahutakawa flowers. Vibrant red nectar gives the natural sweetness and intense notes of berries and thyme, the taste of a Kiwi summer. But yeah, so if you guys want to score yourselves one of these, go and give it a try. Go to www.elementalcider.co.nz. Yeah, made and bottled by Elemental Cider in Otaki, New Zealand. This bottle here is 2.4 standard drinks, so you could split this with a partner over dinner and still feel pretty alright to get it back up, if you know what I mean. It's also 6%, so it's not too wishy-washy. You could probably have one of these and legally drive. I wouldn't suggest it, but I reckon you'd stay under the limit if you'd had one of these and sat for about an hour before picking up your keys. And honestly, this is one of the best things, especially when it comes to alcohol. It's really refreshing to see a drink, especially in alcohol, which has such a little nutritional info part. Usually you've got, salts and these chemicals and those chemicals and everything else, and it's literally, this is all natural shit. So you just get a little bit of energy in there. Carbohydrates is 1 gram per 100 mils, and there's 500 mils in here. Got only 0.16 grams of sugar per 100 mils. Natural sugar straight from the plant, as it should be. So I say, fuck your Summersbees, your Monteiths. For example, your average Steinlager bottle, which is about 330 mils. Little bit of protein in there. Didn't kill no one. Your missus can swallow it, so why can't you? You got a couple of fats in there. Oh, it gets longer. Per 100 grams, you've got, about 0.1 gram of sugar. And on this, you've got 0.16 grams of sugar. The 6 don't mean nothing. These guys are hiding out the second decimal. But you got fats, you got 2.6 grams of carbohydrates per 100 mils. And this is one gram of carbs per 100 mils. And this tiny is 2. And 2 milligrams of salts. So not great for your arteries. Anyway, enough glazing local businesses for free. Let's get back to regular transmission.
A week off is hard to believe it was only a week off. It seems like we've been gone for a year. So much stuff happened while we were off. I mean, have you been following the news, Guillermo?
Yeah, it's crazy,
oh,
Jimmy.
Please, you have not. No,
I've been following basketball.
You've been playing basketball?
No, I was following the March Madness basketball.
Oh, you're following March Madness,
yeah.
Huh? How'd you do in the office pool?
Terrible. I'm number 38.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll tell you what you missed. We learned a lot of things. We learned that there are 2 people with inflatable boobs in Kristi Noem's house. We learned Tiger Woods had a throwback Thursday. The Super Mario movie made $130 million, which means we now have a plumber leading the box office and the Department of Homeland Security. In the middle of the war, Senator Lindsey Graham took a break from months of mongering to go to Disney World. Here he is with a Little Mermaid bubble wand. It can get lonely in those Orlando hotels. Here in L.A., Kanye rose from the dead for a sold-out Seder at SoFi Stadium on Friday. Vance revealed that he believes that what are reported as alien sightings are actually demons living among us, and no one even noticed because his boss baby has been filling his diaper in the bigliest way probably ever. He fired his attorney general, Pam Bondi, for not doing enough illegal stuff for him. And this is how well-liked she is.
The
Hours
Epstein
after she got
files.
the axe, her official photo was reportedly found in the trash at the DOJ. And you
I
know
like
what?
seeing that.
Honestly, she's in a better place. And then yesterday, on Easter Sunday, of all the days, we woke up to this. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch.
Praise be to Allah.
President Donald J. Trump. I believe that's a letter from Paul to the Corinthians. We've heard the word unhinged a lot this weekend, probably more than any weekend ever, but I just want you to imagine. Let me set the scene, okay? You're finishing your Easter brunch, cleaning up, the kids are running out to the yard to find jelly beans, and suddenly your 79-year-old grandpa stands up and he yells, "Open the straight, you crazy bastards, or you're living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah." You'd put him in the car and drive him straight to the emergency room, right? I mean, the whole family would be crying. And not the Trumps. Nope. Later, he posted again an ultimatum. He wrote, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. He's the only president who teases a bombing the same way ABC promotes new episodes of Will Trent.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And then today, he changed that deadline. He said Iran could be taken out by midnight tomorrow, but he didn't specify if that's our tomorrow or their tomorrow. We could start a World War III over a time zone error. Things are running like a Swiss watch, folks. And then, to make this all even more ridiculous, today the president and the First Lady presided over the annual White House Easter egg roll. This is a tradition that dates back to 1878. And what you're about to see, even though we did not have video back when Rutherford B. Hayes was running the show, I have to believe that this would rank among, if not at the top, of the most preposterous moments in White House Easter egg roll history.
Please be the rant to the children.
They were giving me a briefing about that.
Oh no, this is
They
the
said
Easter
normally
egg
when
rant.
you're in very hostile territory, and I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran, they're capable fighters, they're very tough people, and there are others like that.
This is a totally new rant. I seen the egg one.
I have to believe
We
that
have
this
the egg
would
farmers.
rank
The egg
among, if not
farmers.
at the top of the most
But now it's
preposterous
just not.
moments
It's
in
ironic.
White House Easter egg roll history.
What the
They
fuck?
were giving me a briefing about that, and they said normally when you're in very hostile territory, and I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran, they're capable fighters, they're very
Chicago.
tough people, and there are others like that. You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago, I can tell you. In fact, right now they're not too strong at all, in my opinion, but we're soon going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah, you're gonna find out.
Kids, are you? Okay.
Yeah, hey kids, welcome to Easter. By the way, I started a war that I promised I wouldn't
The
start,
new Ayatollah.
and your big
Sitting
uncle
in
might
his bunker.
die in hospital. In
Eating his
fucking
yogurt and potatoes, watching TV,
Iran.
watching this lunatic bragging about blowing them up while, with no explanation, standing next to a man in a bunny suit. What is this cargouche? That's bunny in Farsi. I looked it up. I did some research there. And by the way, you know who was in that bunny suit? Marco Rubio, I assume.
Today we have more than 40,000 eggs supplied by all of the great egg farmers that are with us. So eggs is a big thing, and it was a big thing to our great First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady. What do you think of our First Lady? She's a movie star.
Eggs is a big thing, and eggs is a big thing. I think that's our First Lady. One of these two is. You know what? We've all forgotten which one our wife was at an Easter egg hunt. He was very focused on the eggs because last year eggs were like $8 a piece. So then he went down to chat it up with the folks who brought the yolks.
Are you egg people?
Yes.
Everybody's an egg person. I never saw so many egg people. It tells you it's a big industry. How did I do with the voters that do eggs? Would you say 100% or 99%?
100%.
Did anybody in the egg industry vote for Kamala?
industry.
A low IQ. She's a low IQ person. Who's a lower
The egg industry. Industry.
IQ person? Biden or Kamala?
She's a low IQ. She is not very smart.
Every time
Kamala.
he speaks, it makes me wonder how Melania is able to not jump off that balcony in front of everyone.
It not really explains why it is that, you know, they can communicate perfectly fine. They're very broken English between the both of them. They together they can form like a whole new fucking language.
This is quite an event. The First Lady read the children an Easter book, and the President educated the kids on some recent history. And before we show this, I want to assure you, the words you are about to hear coming out of the President's mouth were not altered. We did not script this. This is not AI
Let's
or a
go.
Donald Trump impersonator.
goat.
This is our President
DJT.
chatting with children on the White House lawn.
You know, Biden would use the auto pen.
He's letting
We have
it
an auto pen
fly.
power. You know, Joe Biden, he didn't sign. He was incapable of signing.
He's
his name.
talking that
so
shit.
they follow him around with this big machine. You know what it was called? An auto pen. And he'd have the auto pen sign for him. He'd take the paper, hand it to his guys. They'd sign it with an auto pen jam back. Not too good, right? Better to sign this stuff.
Jesus H. Christ. Are you out of your mind?
Okay, that's the fake news.
Fake news.
Air Force.
Who likes the fake news?
All right, we may have added one line from one kid, but other than that, it was all Donald. Talking about auto pen and fake news with 4-year-olds. Trump was also spotted walking around with a drawing of a monument he is building to honor himself, that arch he wants to construct on the Washington Mall.
Arch Dylan
Pictures crumpled
Trump.
because he'd been kissing it all morning. Oh, man, if he builds that
Arch
thing, I
Dylan
hope that on the
Epstein.
day he leaves office, I hope that on that day they knock it down. As they swear the next president in, as his or her hand goes on the Bible, I want to see a
Or
wrecking ball
Quran.
just whack it down in the
Or
background.
Torah.
Israel would have been gone, extinguished. Israel would have been wiped off the face of the earth, and the entire Middle East would have been,
Good.
at a minimum, in big trouble. But I did it. That was phase one. We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. We'd still be winning, but it would have been harder. Because we are obliterating that country.
Oh,
And I hate to do it, but we're obliterating, and they just don't want to
I wanna
say
make a
uncle.
beat.
They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, but they will.
I like it. I think that could be an album, right? Him boasting about war crimes to the tune of Stevie Wonder.
bruh, imagine this is just how he does his speeches from now on. I'd actually fucking pay attention. Like, I'd actually like his speeches. Just if he came out and was like, we bombed another school, while he was like, there was some Stevie Wonder jazz in the background, like da 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 da, and he's just like, we bombed another school, 200 children dead. It would go hard. It would go hard. Republicans would, you wouldn't have to argue. You just have the Trump coming out here freestyling. Swear down, if he gets Kanye as part of his like speech writing teams, oh, you can guarantee there'll be some fire shit. Obviously, I had a little bit of an interval. I tried that cider, actually. I think I have a bit of it left. So tonight, I had one of the most Kiwi fucking dinners you could ever imagine. Some pork boil up with a couple of lamb chops in there, kumara, potato, some cabbage, because I couldn't find watercress to buy anywhere. A couple of other things. Good stuff. Boil up stuff. And a Pahutakawa infused apple cider, which went down quite nicely. So we're going to be getting back into regular transmissions, and unfortunately we're starting it off with our Defense Secretary or War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, and I think it's only appropriate that I do this after smashing back a decent amount of cider, considering alcoholism is key to understanding the drunk ramblings of this deranged man.
Our great republic was founded on a simple yet bold idea. Our rights as citizens are not granted to us by government, but instead by God. 250 years ago, the Revolutionary War was fought to secure our God-given rights. The Second Amendment to our Constitution enshrines the right of all citizens to carry weapons to protect themselves, their families, and their fellow countrymen. The War Department's uniform...
From a tyrannical government. I think I've gone on and on about the Second Amendment in so many of my videos on Instagram. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not once there does it mention anything about a home intruder, or if your neighbor gets a bit riled up, or if you feel like your life is in danger. That stuff comes from state law, that stuff comes from case law. The Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia. A militia could be seen as many different things, but in the context of American sovereignty, a militia could be considered for any group that believe, if need be, they can intervene, even possibly through bearing arms or physical altercation. It is necessary to a free state. Otherwise, what are you going to do when Donald Trump says, you know what, martial law is now in place and you're not allowed to leave your house? If you do, you get shot. What are you going to do? There's guys out there with guns. You ain't got nothing. Number one rule is don't bring a knife to a gunfight. I don't see an interpretation there that relates to against my fellow countrymen, or against illegal aliens, or some guy trying to steal my truck. This is a well-regulated militia being necessary to a free state. The only people who can threaten a free state is the government. So therefore, the only people you would need a well-regulated militia to face up against is the government. That is what the forefathers meant, which obviously was so very fucking important, because that was the second thing on the list that they wanted to address. The first was, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. This is just, don't tell me what the fuck I can and can't say. Don't tell me what the fuck I can and can't report on. Freedom of speech. Freedom to bear arms in case you want to impede on my freedom of speech. The Third Amendment, which is like, hey, look, unless we're, like, you can't tell me that a soldier has to come and live in my house. The Fourth Amendment, the right to for people to be secure in their possessions, houses and papers and effects. That means you're not allowed to search me without fucking legal authority, without a warrant, without fucking going through the legal steps that you have to be able to search me. Without probable cause, you cannot do that. And the Fifth Amendment, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime. That means just basically, I have the right to shut the fuck up. Your first constitutional right as an American is to be able to say whatever the fuck you want. Your fifth constitutional right as an American is to not say whatever the fuck you want. Your fourth right as an American is to not be searched illegally. And your second right as an American is to be able to shoot the motherfuckers that want to search you illegally. Whether they're wearing a uniform, whether they're ordained by God or sent by the fucking government, reference right there, we're from the government, we're here to help. It doesn't matter. That's why the Second Amendment exists. But go ahead, pull a gun on a cop and see how that works in the court of law. Because it doesn't matter. It's rigged.
The War Department's uniformed service members are trained at the highest and unwavering standards. These warfighters, entrusted with the safety of our nation, are no less entitled to exercise their God-given right to keep and bear arms than any other American. Our warfighters defend the right of others to carry. They should be able to carry themselves. Recent events like what happened at Fort Stewart, Holloman Air Force Base, or Pensacola Naval Air Station have made clear that some threats are closer to home than we would like. In these instances, minutes are a lifetime, and our service members have the courage and training to make those precious short minutes count. Before today, it was virtually impossible. Most people probably don't know this.
We're just going to stop him there, right? This is another bingo buzz word, sentence, phrase that MAGA and Republicans love to use. Virtually impossible. Alright, we've got an AI overview here from Google, and if you guys don't like that, then we've got it right here. And if you guys don't like that, I'll be able to go onto the Cambridge Dictionary. You know what, fuck it, let's go straight there. Virtually. Almost. Right? Almost. So it's virtually impossible to own a gun here in New Zealand. Almost impossible to own a gun here in New Zealand. Why is it almost? Well, there are some exceptions. Why we say almost is because of the percentages that we have here in New Zealand for gun ownership. New Zealand has like really, really strict gun laws, which makes it virtually impossible for you to be able to get a gun here. Background vetting, applications, means testing, like fucking, there's heaps of shit that you've got to go through to be able to get a gun here. Only 15% of New Zealand households have a gun in it. And even then, you can't guarantee that every person in that household has a gun license. So say there's two people living in that house with one gun in that house, so we can guarantee that at least one of them has a gun license. You can't guarantee that the other person does. Now 15% is not a lot. That makes gun ownership a minority here in New Zealand. We already had very strict gun laws. Then we had a very evil atrocity happen in the South Island, and that really flipped the script when it came to gun ownership, and it also flipped the popular consensus on it. I think a lot of people really got on board here in New Zealand with cracking down on the types of guns that we can have, what's really necessary for hunting, and what's what is for designed for war and for hurting people, and getting rid of those ones that aren't necessary for hunting. New Zealand would not be able to build up a well-regulated militia to go up against its own army, but we're one of those countries that we really depend on the morality of our service members and our police and our public services. But it's well documented and well known. You Americans give us so much shit for the you can't own a pistol and you can't just carry it around. No, you've got to get a gun case and, you know, transport it in the back of your car with pistol in the boot, magazine in another separate case in your glove box, and ammo in your pocket while you drive, and then you get to the shooting range and that's the only place you're allowed to pull a pistol out of the case, and it's got to be controlled environment and everything. And meanwhile, these Americans are walking around with a diamond chain with one fucking swinging around at the trigger guard. It's mental. They give us a lot of shit. So you could say it's virtually impossible for New Zealanders to own a gun. It doesn't mean anything. You know, it means that, well, the people who can't own guns and shouldn't own guns don't own guns, and the people who don't want to go and own guns don't go and get guns. They don't bother to go and get their gun licenses. But for the people who do, it is a very hard process, and it is virtually impossible. That is an opinion. That is an opinion that means absolutely fucking jack shit. Virtually impossible is just a buzzword so that it gets Americans mad. It gets those Southerners going, they're trying to take away our guns. They're trying to make it so our service members can't have guns. Well, guess what? Guess what there's a lot of on a fucking army base? Guess what the government supplies you with? There's no laws saying that these servicemen can't have their own personal guns and they can't conceal and carry while they're on base. There's no laws, there's no statutes, there's no legislation saying that you can't conceal carry when you're on an army base. There's nothing saying that service members can't take their own personal weapons. In fact, you know, from what I know, in some places it's encouraged. It's just a process. And if you can't go through the fucking process, too fucking bad. You know, like... And you've just got to accept some state. If you've got an army base in New York and their gun will say certain things, or they outline what service members can and can't do with their guns while on base or outside of base, rah. Sorry, you've just got to go with it. Because as you said at the beginning of your little speech here, this is a republic. This is a bunch of states that have come together, the United States of America. This is you guys all communicating with your own little laws and going, all right, this is how we want to work together. So for the federal government, you have to try and figure out how it is that you're going to work with each individual state. California has different laws, New York has different laws, Nevada has different laws, and Texas has different laws. You've just got to work around that. It's the exact same way that if you had an army base here in New Zealand and an army base in Germany, well, Germany might say, yeah, all good, you guys are allowed to walk around off base with an AR-15 strapped to the fucking chest. Where here in New Zealand, we might say to you, fuck no, keep your guns in your army base and don't bring it anywhere near the public. You've just got to respect that shit.
It was virtually impossible for War Department personnel to get permission to carry and store their own personal weapons aligned with the state laws where we operate our installations. I mean, effectively, our bases across the country were gun-free zones. Unless you're training or unless you are a military policeman, you couldn't carry, you couldn't bring your own firearm for your own personal protection onto post. Well, that's no longer. The memo I'm signing today directs installation commanders to allow requests for personal protection to carry a private...
This is another thing. I'm writing a memo to tell people to accept requests to be able to go and, you know, carry guns. They're already accepting requests. They sit there and they're like, all right, sweet, we've got another person signing an application to carry his own gun. They were accepting their requests. Or, Pete Hegseth, are you just saying that you want them to blanketly, you're instructing these guys, these generals, these commanding officers, these people, right, to blanketly just accept, as in like tick yes to all of these people who are putting in applications? What is your wording here? Are you wanting them to be able to say, hey, look, I know you guys already have the option to send in these applications, but guys, guess what? You have the options to send in these applications. Or are you telling them that you want them to automatically grant these requests and grant these applications without going through the process, the due process that is in place to make sure that the people who are carrying guns should be carrying guns? I'm confused here. Accept requests? Your memos need to be properly outlined and informative when you're communicating with fucking war people. You alcoholic, you look like you need to be punched more in the head. You need to go into UFC and not fucking go back to Fox News.
Privately owned firearm with the presumption that it is necessary for personal protection.
You mean you need more personal protection from a Sig Sauer that you're handing in because it shoots you in the fucking chest, your own gun that you put on a fucking table? You've had a few instances where there have been problems arising at army bases or air force bases or military installments across the country that make you believe it's necessary for more guns. How are we going to address the hundreds of school shootings that happen every single year? Is your answer to give the kids guns? Is your answer to be able to allow teachers to store guns in the classroom? Make an application? Like, should I as a parent be able to make an application for my 5-year-old to go to school with a fucking pistol? Is that what your solution is to the ongoing gun problem in your country?
If a request is for some reason denied, the reason for that denial will be in writing and will explain in detail the basis for that direction. Again, the presumption is service members will be able to have their Second Amendment right.
This is what they train you to do at Fox News, and as any journalist, as any news presenter, especially a host, especially an experienced host like he was before he got sucked up into Donald Trump's asshole, is make an inflammatory statement and then kind of end it off with something that isn't really arguable and then move on as quickly as possible. Usually just repeat the statement that you said before you made the inflammatory statement. This here, if you're going to deny the request, you have to put it in writing and detail why. Newsflash, Pete, if you've ever had any experience in the DOD, the Department of Defense, because I'm not calling it Department of fucking War, you 4-year-old, then you would know that if you make a request and it is denied, there is large amounts of paperwork to go with it. The one thing that every soldier, every airman, every fucking sailor has ever complained about when it comes to military or the DOD is bureaucratic fucking paperwork. So you best believe that shit's already happening. Why are you coming out here trying to make people upset about a problem that doesn't exist? You're doing Donald Trump shit, but you're doing it for the DOD so that you can try and garner support for fucking bullshit wars in Iran.
If a request is for some reason denied, the reason for that denial will be
Inflammatory
in writing
statement.
and will explain in detail the basis for
Inflammatory
that
statement real
Again,
quick.
The presumption is service members will be able
Previous
to have
statement
their Second
to
Amendment
close it off.
on post. Not all enemies are foreign, nor are they all outside our borders.
Especially, it's even better if you can get, a statement to garner support, right? And be like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is why they should do it. Then inflammatory statement of, oh, fucking Biden, or fucking, oh, we should fucking change that. It's making me mad. And then close it off with the, oh, but this is why we need to do it. It's important. It's important. It's indoctrination is propaganda at its finest. And if you knew anything about Joseph Goebbels or fucking whatever his name was, that fucking piece of shit from 1930s, then you'd be able to recognize this a fucking mile away.
Confirming your God-given right to self-protection is what I'm signing into action today, and I'm proud to do so.
It's already been signed. What's the paper? Show us the paper. I called it. Show us the paper, Pete. Show us the paper. What did you just sign? What's the memo? Let us read the memo. Let us read the memo. This is what I mean. So here in New Zealand, we have a minimum wage. It's the minimum amount of money that anybody has to pay for someone's hourly services for a job. Let's say, for example, $20 an hour. Government says, all right, Pack and Save, you have to, pay your workers a minimum of $20 an hour. I, as the head of Pack and Save, go, hey, all my employees, I've got a great news for you. I'm sending out a memo to all of the stores saying that they have to pay you a minimum of $20 an hour. You can thank me because I think you guys should be get paid right, and people out here think that you shouldn't be paid at all. So here I am, being the good guy, thinking you should get paid right. If you're a Pack and Save employee, you're going to be going, fuck yeah. Yo, my company cares about me. It's the fucking law, dickhead. It's the law.